Hey everybody, and welcome to a new Jamovi video. In this video, I wanted to go through a new package that you can download for your Jamovi, and you might be wondering, well, this is not what Jamovi is. You're showing me a black website. That's right, because this is the GitHub page for the package that I'm going to talk about today. I have Jamovi open, don't worry, it's right there. Anyways, what we are going to be talking about today is summary tables. Summary tables is a new package that you can load into your Jamovi. I'll show how to do that in just a second to do something glorious. Have you ever tried to make an APA style table and it's just a big old pain in the booty? Well, this particular package can help you with quite a few of those pesky APA style tables. Now, I have a video on my channel. I have a couple videos actually on how to make APA style tables in Excel and then, be able to move those through to Word depending on what you're doing here. But this particular package does it straight in Jamovi, makes them APA style, and then you can put them into Word files. You can download a Word file. So we're going to go through all of that. But I wanted to show this GitHub because I like showing off the developers and the kinds of things that you can do with this, right? So here's the main page. We're in home. And so the analyses, you can create a table, summary table. Okay, your classic table one, as said, right? So group comparisons, automatic statistical testing, effect sizes, and p-value with adjustments. A continuous table, right? So this would just be a single continuous variable across multiple categorical variables. A cross table. So basically your crosstabs table, if you were doing a contingency table for chi-square, right? Test of independence or association, right? You can have a Likert table to show Likert scale items, a survival table using Kaplan-Meier survival table designs, right? To show probabilities and times, multivariable regression, right? That's going to show linear, logistic, or Cox regression models. I'm not going to go through all of that, but then you can also do that with a single variable as well. Features, Word export, right? You can get a docx file. Be great if you are moving that directly into a manuscript. It will format them for JAMA, the Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, and the Quarterly Journal of Economics. I'm assuming that these all have different requirements, and you can use this in 16 different languages. Like, oh my goodness. And then you can talk to the developer. There's a user guide here. So which table should I use? Okay. This is a good way of getting started. We're going to jump right in though, because that's how I like doing these videos. So what table should I use, right? So how to set up your variables and set up your tables, okay? A manual run mode, right? We're basically going to go through that. Okay, which is run manually or disables auto run behavior and activates the run button. So we'll go ahead and open up a descriptive stats data file and kind of just like throw them all into a summary table and then take a look at it and then save to Word. When saving a table, if you type a file name that already exists, it will silently overwrite the existing Word file without a warning prompt. So, save and then just change things, right? Rounding, it does two sets of roundings, one for general statistics and one specifically tailored for p-values. I'm assuming that runs conventional, but you can make your changes right here if you'd like. P-values, auto is 1, 2, 3, auto 0, 1 through 5. That's a lot, right? Large p-values are rounded to one decimal place. Very small are shown as less than 0.001, less than 0.001, and less than... Okay, so that's good. It will always show less than 0.001, and then you can change the statistical test. Like, it's really good. I'm gonna run through just a table. Let's go ahead and let's make this big size. Let's expand it here, get rid of the keyboard navigation. Let's go ahead and open up a data library file. I'm going to grab it from Learning Statistics with Jamovi because they have a lot of just really easy descriptive statistics. So let's go ahead and grab clinical trial because it can be used for ANOVA. And so I really like this one because it's got mood gain, therapy, placebo. We'll come back to that one. I do want let's just grab book sales, actually. Book sales. We can go back to the other one to show another summary table. Okay, so I've got latest version of Jamovi 2.7.28. I believe it is fresh as of May 2026 when this video will likely go out. I don't know. And so to add summary statistics, you go to Jamovi library and you can type in summary and it will bring up summary tables, right? Publication ready summary tables version 1.2.0. And it's Noor Eden Darwish is the name of the developer, and that's whose GitHub repository we were at, right? That's what I have open. So that's how you do it. And down here, there'll be an install button. Of course, you can see that I already have it installed. So you click that, you add that, and you close it, and you can drag and you can go across. Again, Jamovi, alphabetical order for all of these bad boys, because I don't remember where there it is. Summary tables. It doesn't have a fancy icon, so it gets the generic icon. I had also installed some of these. That's why they're flashing. And so let's go ahead and open the summary table up, right? And then you have continuous, cross table, Likert, and survival. And then again, you can do all of these other kinds of regression tables. So we're going to go ahead and add. Let's actually go back to our data and let's see what we've got. We've got month. We've got days in the month, right? Yeah, that's accurate. We've got the number of sales, and then we've got the stock levels. So I would say sales is a continuous variable. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that just in case it's annoyed by it. And the other ones were, yeah, let's leave the other ones. Let's go back to analyses, click on summary table. So let's go ahead and put continuous variables in sales and categorical variables in, yeah, I don't know if I like that. Stock levels, categorical variables. Yeah, let's take month out. Month is not great. Stock levels. Yeah, I like that. Okay. We can do grouping variables. Ooh, we can do month for the grouping variables. Yeah, there we go. It puts it in alphabetical order. Interesting. I wonder if we can mess with that. So as you can see, it did this all by itself, but we can turn that off by checking this run manual button. And then when we're all ready to put things in, when we put things in like that, we can hit the run button. And so it obviously just ran it as it is here. You can add an N column if you wanted to. You place last or show footnote. Okay, you can do that. You could add an overall column. Oh, I have run manually on. Sorry. Let's take that off. Let's take that off. Add an N column because, yeah, that was obnoxious. Okay, so you can place that last if you want to, and it'll be put over here on this side as opposed to right there. Or you can put it in the footnote, right? And non-missing, right? And then it pushes every other footnote to the next number, right? We don't need to show a footnote. We can do that. We can also put the overall column last if we'd like. So we can put that over at the back, okay? And then missing values, show if present, hide, or always show. Label, you can label missing values as unknown. And then the statistic is either count percent. So if we change that, it will be, I don't know if anything actually changed, or just percentage. Let's see. Yeah, nothing changed. I wonder if you need something specified for that. Okay. Level order. Well, level order is high, low, out, or we could do as defined. That's high, low, out. And we can do frequency as well. That would high, out, low. Okay, so that changed it high, low, out. Okay, that just changed the position of low and out because of the 9, 2, and then 1 I see. Okay, so that is as defined or as frequency. Okay, so that didn't change anything, to be honest with you. Okay, so we can do level order there. I think that's not your grouping variable, interestingly. All right, so let's take a look at statistics here. We can do mean. We can do median IQR, so interquartile range. We can do median range. We can do the mean. We can do the median and all. Oh, so mean with the standard deviation in I see. Maybe it would have been better to do the summary table for the clinical test. We'll look at that. Decimal places, auto. I mean, we don't need, there's all whole numbers here. Default for categorical, count percent and percent. Oh, I see. We can change this and get rid of that. Oh, so that's so much better. That's so much better. I like that. I'm not sure what the level order is. Oh, level order is just be these orders, whether we had count percent in there. I wonder what where was. Oh, that's the missing value, guys. No wonder it didn't change anything because it was under missing values. This is where the changes. So we've got column percent, row percent, or total percent for that. We can do count percent or count percent in parentheses. Okay, I like that. All right, sounds good. Okay, we're gonna keep going. We can add confidence intervals to this. There isn't enough information to it, so we have to uncheck that. We'll look at it on the other one. We're going to close that so we get more room. Let's close that and close that so we get more room. We can get differences. We can't do difference because grouping variable with 2 levels only. Okay. P-values. Well, we don't have anything that's P-values. You can get a P-value adjustment. Ooh, I want to look at that. Okay. Appearance. Okay. So here is where we would change we can change it to JAMA. So let's take a look at what JAMA would look like. That didn't look different. Let's take a look at what the Lancet would look like. That didn't look. New England Journal of Medicine. Nope. And the Quarterly Journal of Medicine. No. It didn't change anything. Compact. Can make it smaller though. That's nice. I like that. Bold labels, italicized labels, bold levels, and italicized levels. Look at that. We can do that as well. And then we can save to Word. So put it on my desktop, as you can see. So there it was. Open Word. And there you go. It's kind of gross because it being in landscape or portrait, excuse me, but we can change that layout. We can change the orientation to landscape and it looks a lot better. The only problem that I see here is the inability to change our grouping variable. It's HTML. Okay. Change our grouping variable so that we could have this in calendar order. All right. Well, instead of book sales, let's jump over to this one here and let's go ahead and do another one, right? So let's go to summary table so we can do a few more things, right? So let's add mood gain as and then drug and therapy as our categorical variables. We could add them as grouping variables if we wanted to. We'd have to do 2 different tables though, which is kind of a bummer. So CBT and no therapy are showing us here. So that's cool. Yeah, so level order, well, we don't have that. We don't need an N column for that. All right, let's see what the statistics are. Yeah, same as default. Mean, yeah, we have all of these. If we had other categorical variables or continuous variables in here, we could do that. Let's see what the other ones are though. Let's add a confidence interval. Yeah, there we go. So we get the confidence interval right next to it. And it is, let's see, it's doing a t-test, or we can do the Wilcoxon signed rank. Let's see. Ooh, I like this. You can add it to the statistic column. I like that. That's pretty cool. Okay. I don't know if it would be bold though. I don't think you have to bold that. Okay. Well, that's fine. All right. So it either calculates the confidence interval via t-test or it does the Wilcoxon signed rank. Let's see. I don't think that changed the values. Look closely. No, it didn't. All right, so yeah, let's add all. There we go. Hey, I like that. I like that. That's very cool. So let's see. Mood gain, that's a confidence interval right there. This is sort of messy. The median with the interquartile range right here. So that's the median. And then the mean and standard deviation. Okay. And the min and max. Okay. Okay. That's pretty cool. All right. So let's close that. We did confidence interval. Difference. So if we add a difference score, we get our mean difference, which would be 1.04 minus 0.72, which is a difference of 0.32. And it's doing a Welch 2-sample t-test. Let's do a... they're not different, unfortunately. Oh, I already knew that was going to be the case. You can do the t-test there. It didn't really change much. You could do Wilcoxon-Rake sum. You can get Cohen's d as well. Okay. It looks like it gives you the Cohen's d as the difference score here. So it's a medium effect, moderate to strong. And then this would be the 95% Cohen's interval, 95% confidence interval, excuse me, for the Cohen's d. That's cool. You can get Hedges g. This would be for a paired samples, or you can get the SMD, standardized mean difference, and then get a CI for that as well. And then you can merge, you can bold significant values. That would be a 0.05. It gives you an error when you don't have anything presented. So let's go with the t-test to see, right? So the error went away because I now have a p-value represented on this particular table, okay? You can also have a separate p-value note, okay? Separate p-value footnotes if I had multiple p-values for multiple variables on the same two groups, we'll say, right? You can also merge the confidence interval. I think that cleans it up quite a bit. All right, cool. And then let's take a look at the p-value. So add a p-value requires grouping variable. Columns, estimate, parameter, statistics, conf low, conf high, p-value already present in the table, although may some be hidden and no new columns were added. Oh, well, okay, go away then. Okay, so that is if you were going to not show the mean difference, but wanted to just show the p-value. Okay, I dig that. That's fine. Okay, fair enough. Q value. Let's see what we can do for the Q value adjustment. Okay, so this has been the Benjamini and Hochberg correction for multiple testing. Well, we don't have multiple tests, but you can choose that. Benjamini, Ucatielli, Bonferroni, Holm, Hochberg, Hommel, and none. I don't know why you would add none. Bonferroni correction for multiple testing. That's usually what I do. Q value. I like that. It adds the footnote for you there. Interesting that it makes this the number 1 is because it's on this first line, and because I had its separate footnote, it put that on the next line. And so that's why it's 2. I like that, even though we read left to right in English. Very interesting situation that we've got going on here. I like it. So we do that. And then appearance, we've already looked at that. JAMA, it doesn't look like it changes anything, folks. That is striking to me. Nothing seems to be happening with these 3 differences. I don't know if it's me, if it's that, and then we can save to Word. I'm not going to save it. I'm not going to save this one to Word because I have to rename it. Well, I could just do number 2. Well, yeah, let's do that. You talked me into it. All right, let's open that up. See, now this one looks so much better. Now it did like cover most of the page here, right? And it is 11 as opposed to 12, which is typical. One thing that this does not add for you though is table 1 and the title of the table. So you do still need to add those to this table to make it fully APA style, right? So we could do that, no problem. We would want to, ooh, I had it. There we go. Make this an inch. Nope, grab the wrong one. I still grabbed the wrong one. There we go. Well, you'd have to futz around with it. You could go to table layout and you can distribute columns. There we go. Now it fits, and I can now do table 1. Let's move you out of the way here. I know characteristic got a little smudged there. Let's see. Descriptive statistics for mood gain across therapy types and t-test result for mood gain across therapy types, and I italicize that and bada bing. Oh wait, you don't need to do the period anymore. I just remember that. And there you go. I would make this all a single font. So get a load of Arial here, Arial, and let's call that 11. And boom, bada bing, bada boom. Look at you. Let's get there. We go. These don't need to be that big. Come on now. Yeah, hey, ooh, almost. There we go. Look at that. Wonderful. I've got my table. Just put it into my manuscript. Excellent. All right. One last thing I wanted to look at before we move on is to do a linear regression with a single variable. So we're going to do mood gain, and we're going to put the 2 factors in here. Okay. So it will give us the whole lot. And so this is what you would typically see for a linear regression table that's showing you things. And this is by default, of course, the beta, or n, let's say, the beta, the 95% confidence interval for that beta, and then the p-value for that beta. Okay. And because these are factors, they have levels, they're categorical. I don't have any covariates in this. Otherwise, they'd show up in this table from over here, and they would have their own line, and they would not be broken out by the levels here. It would just be one line for the covariate, right? And so here we have CBT and no therapy, right? So cognitive behavioral therapy and no therapy, like we had up here, and then the 3 drugs from this data set, which is Angzifree, Joyzepam, and placebo. And essentially, what you're seeing is a comparison of the levels, right? So that's why these 2 top lines don't have values in them. So this negative 0.32 is the relationship between no therapy and CBT, in the sense that no therapy has a net negative when compared to CBT when mood gain is our variable. Joyzepam is better than Angzifree at mood gain, 0.77, and placebo is a net negative compared to Angzifree. So if we were to do an actual factorial ANOVA, we would see that Joyzepam had the best mood gain, Angzifree had the next best mood gain, and placebo had the worst mood gain. And then CBT is, a third better, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way, than no therapy at all on mood gain, right? And then so we get the comparison there. So 0.77 Joyzepam to Angzifree is significant, but the difference between placebo and Angzifree was not. And unfortunately, the difference between CBT and no therapy was not either, as these 2 p-values are the same. Now, we have some options that we can to add here, right? So decimal places, coefficient, and CI. Let's go ahead and make them all 2 decimal places. And let's go ahead and make all of the p-values 2. So you can see that it was actually 0.21 and 0.15. It was rounding up, right? So that makes a difference. So we can also bold significant p-values. It bolds it there. You can merge the coefficient, the beta, with the confidence interval. We can do that. We can show the reference values, which is 0. So you either have the lines or you don't have the lines. I think you leaving it like this is fine. I think most people who read these do understand. You might want to have table note to describe it. That works. You can do global p-values, right? So drug is actually a significant predictor in this model because all 3 conditions of drugs do have a difference observed, right? But therapy does not. So you either have it at the line of the level or you don't. You can also keep the individual p-values. So you can have global, and then you can have the ones at the top. We'll go ahead and uncheck that so we can do this last one, which is significant stars. So instead of p-values, we can just use the star notation, the asterisks notation, okay? And it, drops a little footnote here, and it puts the stars next to the coefficient, and then it just tells us what is typical, right? I don't like that there's no spacing between all of these characters. I would put spacing at least between the p, and the less than signs with the zeros, but no, whatever. So there you go. We have p is less than 0.001 because it's 3 stars, and there you are. The one thing that you can switch, though, is now you can put the standard error. Put the standard error there, which is nice. You don't have to show the standard error. You could just have this nice, tight, compact table if you wanted to, okay? I don't know if there would be any reason to show a Q value if I were going to do Bonferroni. This isn't a multiple test situation. It's going to do it anyways, right? And you can see that our p-values increased significantly, so we wouldn't do that. Same appearance. Let's see. Jam. I see. JAMA changed it and got rid of my options to have, ooh, interesting, Lancet. Okay, the Lancet, you can have okay. So there are some things that were changed because of that. All right. Okay, and then so confidence intervals were deleted and standard error was inserted there. Oh, I like that. Okay, so they have some requirements for how data is presented. Okay, and then you can save to Word. I'm not going to save this one to Word because I don't want to. You guys can see it in this one. And then just like the other ones, there's a cross table, the options for cross table, row, and columns, the Likert tables. I don't have a Likert scale variable here, but your variables should have the response levels in them. And then the survival table, time elapsed, event, and then the stratifying variables, and then logistic linear regression with multivariables, logistic regression, Cox, and you can do that for univariable as well. And so that is a little overview and run through of a summary table and a univariable linear regression table in the Jamovi package summary tables. If you have any comments, suggestion, questions, or other feedback, please leave that in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye.